Good morning. I am Preeti Thakkar from LP Savani Vidya Bhavan, going to teach you SS for Standard 7th, Chapter 4, Rajput Age. Parimal was watching a historical serial on TV in which he saw a palace. A thought arose in his mind. Are such palaces still in existence? Who had constructed such palaces? Being curious, he went to his grandfather to ask questions and get the answers to this and other similar questions. His grandfather told him a few things like what is discussed below. Such palaces are constructed by kings in ancient times. We come across many palaces, some of which are in ruins, which others are in good condition. There is difference between the construction of structures in present time and the kind of work done in earlier ages. From these differences, we can make out the period during which a particular structure was constructed. Monuments constructed during Rajput age can even seen today. To know about the era, let's know about the main Indian dynasties of that time. See children, here in this paragraph it is told that here Parimal was very curious to know about the palace. When he saw the pictures of palace, he wanted to know and he was very curious to know, and he asked his grandfather so many questions about the palaces. Where do these palaces still are there in existence? And his grandfather answered him all the questions he had. His grandfather told him that there are so many palaces which are ruined. Ruin means khatam ho jana, end of it, and still there are some in good conditions. अभी भी कुछ अच्छे condition में है. And then there were the difference between the construction and structures, which grandfather explained him that the king has a large empire in those days, and you have already heard about Harshvardhana in our first chapter. Moving forward, rise of new dynasties. After the death of Emperor Harshvardhana in the middle of 7th century CE, many feudal sapiens and landlords declared themselves to be independent and founded new dynasty. Feudal means old-fashioned. Many old-fashioned. Okay. So, here, many dynasties came to existence. The main dynasties ruling North India were Gurjar, Pratihara, Pal, Chalukya, Parmar and Chauhan dynasties. Among those in South India were the Pallava, Rashtrakuta, Kalyani, Chaluka, Cher, Pandya and Chola dynasties. And here we come to know that there were two parts divided in the kingdom in medieval period. The period from 8th to 12th century is known as early medieval period, and that time in the states of North India and the chief rulers were Gurjar, Pratihar, Pal, Chalukya, Parmar, Chauhan, etc. And in the state of South India, the chief rulers were Pallav, Rashtrakud, Chalukyas, Kalyani, Cher, Pandya, Chola, etc. They were divided into North India and the South India. Okay. Now, moving on towards North India. Let me tell you about North India after the emperor of Harsha means Harshvardhana. Yashovarma, a brave king, came to the throne of Kanuj. After that, Pratihara dynasty took over in Kanuj. They had saved India against the invasion of Arabs. In this dynasty, Mihir Bhoj, a violent ruler, made a mark. He was shortly known as a Bhoj. And there were rulers named Munj and Bhoj in the Parmar dynasty in Malwa, Ujjain, Dharanagari were the chief towns of Malwa. Raja Bhoj had found in Vidyapit in Dharanagari. So this was all about the North India, and still moving forward to it, the North India. The rulers of Pala dynasty and Sen dynasty ruled in Bihar and Bengal. The rulers of Pala dynasty had added Pala to their names, and so their dynasty was known as Pala dynasty. See, Pal dynasty ruled over Bengal and Sen dynasty ruled over Bihar. Many Rajput rulers of Chauhan or Chahman dynasty ruled over various parts of Rajasthan during 7th and 8th century CE of them. One branch ruled over Shakambari, a palace near Lake of Sambar, which is to the north of Ajmer. In the beginning of 8th century, Ajay Raj ascended the throne of Shakambari in 12th century. He established the city Ajay-Meru, which later came to be known as Ajmer. Now here, if we say in Delhi, this during the 7th and 8th century AD, many Rajput kings belonging to Chauhan and Chahman dynasty ruled over many parts of Rajasthan. One branch Chauhan dynasty ruled over the palace named Shakambari near Sambar Lake to the north of Ajmer. That was known as Ajmer, right? That actually the city's name was Ajay Meru, and it was known as Ajmer. That was Ajay Raj Shakambari found in town. Okay, and then it was known as Ajmer, as I told you. Rulers of Chauhan dynasty captured Delhi, the capital of Tamor kings, and established the supremacy. Prithviraj III of Rai Pitora was powerful ruler of Chauhan dynasty. He is unparalleled in history of India. Many stories and folk songs were being written about his bravery in battlefield. Chandbadri and a famous poet, Chandbardai, a famous poet, was written about Prithviraj Chauhan's valor in his pick Prithviraj Raso. We shall learn about the battle between Prithviraj Chauhan and Shahabuddin Muhammad Ghori later. This means that the rulers of Chauhan dynasty won over Dilak, that is Delhi, right now we call it Delhi, the capital of Tomar, and established the rule over there. In this dynasty, Prithviraj III was named as Raja Pithora, and a heroic king ruled. He was known as heroic and a violent king. He possessed a unique place in India history for the valor, and he had shown on his battlefield. A poet named Chandbadri had narrated the story of his bravery of Prithviraj Chauhan in his epic Prithviraj Raso. The Gohils and Guhils of Mewar, who were later known as Sisodia Rajputs, hold a unique position in medieval history. It is said that Bappa Rawal established this dynasty during the Rajput era. The Chedi dynasty ruled over Jabalpur, which is to the south of river Narmada, Madhya Pradesh. It was known as Chedi dynasty of Kalachuri, which its capital at Tripura, present day Tewar. In the medieval era of Gujarat, the Rajput dynasties of Chavdas, followed by the Solankis, ruled over Anihilwada Patan. There were many violent rulers of this dynasty about whom we will study later. Now, this explains that Bappa Rawal was the founder of Gohils and Guhils of Mewar, who was later known as Sisodia Rajput dynasty. And kings of Chedi dynasty ruled in the surrounding of provinces of Jabalpur to the south of river Narmada in Madhya Pradesh. This state was known as Chedi. Okay. Then the capital was in Tripuri. It was known as Tiwar. Presently it is known as Tiwar. Triputi is the capital of it. Okay. Then during Rajput age, there was a reign of Chawda and Solanki in the session of Rajput dynasty. That was in the Anahilpur Patan in Gujarat. Moving on to South India. During the Rajput era, many big and small states were established in South India. After the demise of Pulkeshi II, the vast empire disintegrated into smaller states. The reign of many rulers of Chalukya dynasty is noteworthy. The kingdom of Pallava and Chola dynasty are also included in the states of South India. Narasimhavarma was a strong ruler of Pallava dynasty. The emperors of this dynasty were lovers of art and literature. The Kailasnath temple of Kashi is the best example of Pallava architecture. So here children, in this paragraph it is said that Chalukya dynasty came to an end after Pulkeshi II. We all have learned about Pulkeshi II in the first chapter. And then in South India, Narasimha Varma was a powerful ruler of Pallava dynasty in South India. He had the splendid temple Kailash Mandir constructed in capital of Kanchi that was known as Kailash Nath temple, and he was the lover of art and literature, and he was the most powerful ruler of Pallava. Moving forward, the Chola dynasty is also ruled in south. Tanjore is their capital. The rulers of Chola dynasty attacked Ceylon and annexed many territories. The Cholas had a powerful navy because of which they could attack countries even across the sea. Rajaraja I adapted a very systematic way of administration in his state. He started with the measurement of land and local self government. Here, this paragraph explains Tanjore was the capital of Chola dynasty in South India. The rulers of Chola dynasty had a powerful naval army. A king from the dynasty had invaded Ceylon. He had a powerful naval army. A king from the dynasty had invaded Ceylon, that is Sri Lanka, right now we can call it Sri Lanka, and had captured some part of land. Rajaraja I had set very nice state administration in that time. He had started land measuring and local self-government too. Moving forward, apart from them, the Rashtrakuta, Chera and Pandya dynasty also ruled in South India. So it is evidence that many dynasties ruled a different place during Rajput age. There were frequent battles between them annexed each other's areas. Due to the internal conflicts, there were no unity among them. Foreign invaders took advantage of this. We will discuss the administration and culture during the Rajput era in the next unit. Now, here, children, in this paragraph, it is said that during the Rajput age, the dynasties ruled over across India. They fought among themselves to acquire one another's land. एक दूसरे की जमीन हड़पने के लिए they kept on fighting and there were no unity among themselves. So the foreign invaders, they got opportunity to invade India. फायदा उठाया foreigner invaders ने. Then they never used to understand each other. They always used to fight for each and every tiny things. And they kept on fighting and there was no unity among them, and so the foreigner invaders got the opportunity to invade India in May. Rashtrakutas ruled South India. With the fall of Chalukya dynasty, Rashtrakuta came to power. Rashtrakuta means head of a state or area. It is believed that the founder of the dynasty was an officer of the community, and hence that is believed that the founded of the dynasty was an officer of the community, and hence the dynasty was named after him. Out of many rulers, Govind III was the most powerful king. In the 8th century, he established a powerful kingdom in Deccan. See, children, here it is said that with the fall of Chalukya dynasty in South India, Rashtrakut dynasty came to power. That means Rashtrakut means it is the chief official of Rashtra or province. In this dynasty, in 8th century, there existed Govind III. Govind III existed, and a powerful king. He was a powerful king who had established in his supreme rule in Deccan, that is South. The Pandyas also ruled over South India. The Pandya dynasty is believed to be very ancient. Megasthenes, the Greek traveler, notes that female used to rule in this community. The inscription of Emperor Ashoka also contained reference to the Pandyas. The Pandyas ruled in the present day Madurai and Tiruvannamalai in Tamil Nadu. Cheras ruled over South India. Chera is now known as Kerala. In ancient time, Kerala was the part of Tamil state. Later on, Kerala and or Malayalam state separated as Kapalputra Rajya is mentioned in the inscription of Ashoka. Athan too was the first strong ruler of this dynasty. Cheran Setugavan was a powerful ruler of this dynasty. See, children, in this page, it is said, in this paragraph, it is said that the ruler of Palya dynasty, the rulers of Palya dynasty ruled, where presently we find Madurai and Tiruvannamalai, district of Tamil Nadu in south. Pandya state is considered to be very ancient state. As a foreign traveler, Megasthenes Megasthenes had noted that in this dynasty even women used to rule. There is mention of Pandya state in Emperor Ashoka's stone inscription. Even in the Ashoka stone inscription, it is mentioned that in this state even a woman used to rule. Then Chera dynasty is ruled in South India. Then the other name of Chera is Kerala. You all might have been to Kerala. Formerly, Cher or Kerala was a part of Tamil region. Malayalam or Kerala province got separated from it later. First Tamil region and Malayalam region, they then got separated. First it was called as Tamil region, and even Malayalam used to be there together. Then in the stone of inscription also, Ashoka mentioned of Kapalaputra state that was found, that powerful kings like Athan II and Satughan also belonged to this dynasty. Now, moving on forward with the pride of Rajput rulers. Rajput were very brave. They felt proud to give up their lives for the country, to die but never fear, to protect those who seek refuge, to speak the truth and fight for truth with their special traits. Rajput women, Rajputani, they were known as Rajputani, were known for their chastity and fearlessness. That is Bahadur. They never used to fear, never used to be afraid. They sent their husbands, son and brothers to the battlefields with a smiling face. They were so brave that if need be, they would fight on the battlefield. They preferred Juhar, to burn alive, means to burn themselves if their husband were defeated or attained. Martyrdom in wars. They burn themselves if their husband were defeated or attained. Martyrdom in wars. The heroic stories of Rajput age are engraved in golden letters in history of India. See, children, here we came to know that the Rajput were fearless, they were brave, they were adventurous, and they were truth speaking. They never retreated in battlefield. Always without fear, they were ready to fight in the battlefield. They offered disparate fight and they even felt like getting defeated, they used to burn themselves. They protect refugees, surrendered ones at any cost. The wife of Rajput were known for their burning themselves on the pyre of their husband and fearlessness. Yani, when their husband used to fail in the battlefield, they used to burn themselves with their husband. If they would die in the battlefield, then they gave sent off to their husband, son, and brothers smilingly when they got ready to the battlefield. When the brothers and fathers used to go for battlefield, they used to send them with a smiling face. If needed, they also went to battlefield with their swords. Even they used to fight in the battlefield if they felt needed in the battle. If their husband died while fighting in the battlefield, then they performed Johar. Johar means like self-immolation in the group. They used to burn themselves in the with their husband. So children, here we end with this chapter, and then goodbye to everybody. We'll see you in the next chapter.